Well, great day, Mark, Tammy, all the speakers, great job. Isn't it cool to meet them and then see the management team and all the great people, Dennis Windsor and Roy and Belinda and Jeff. We just got a great team assembled here at Nerium International. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to be semi-quick. That's hard for me, but I'll be semi-quick. And I just want to share with you, especially, there's Americans here that have been with us for a while, so you've probably heard some of this message before, but this is especially designed for our new friends, the Canadians here. And what I think, if you can grasp what I'm about ready to share with you, which is something that has served me very, very, very well in my life, and it's really more philosophical than it is how to, but it really, when you understand it, affects everything so much in your how-tos, because quite honestly, your how-tos aren't working in life. You need to back up and look what your philosophies are. Your philosophies are everything you know, and that comes from tapes and books and associations and just life experiences. That creates your philosophy. It's what you know, how you hold it, how it affects what you do. And when you have good philosophies, it creates the proper attitude. And when you have the proper attitude, then you take the hows and you make them work. In my experience, it's never been the hows. It's how you do the hows. And so I spend way more time on philosophies and attitude than I do on the hows. And so I want to share with you a philosophy that for me has been just worked very well with not just for myself, but everybody around me, and making the hows work. And when the hows work, then you get the lifestyle and the results that you're looking for. And so with that, before I get into that, I want to just touch again on what I talked about last night, and that is a little bit more about Nerium, the company, because for me, the biggest thing we're asking from you is your time, okay? Also, another big thing we're asking for you is your reputation. The relationships you have. I think those are two big things to ask of a person, to give us your time and give us your relationships, quite honestly, okay? And what I would know if I was in your shoes, that would give you back a company that's worthy of your time, worthy of relationships, but more importantly, will be here long enough for you to achieve what you want with this company. And what do I mean by that? The sad thing, in my opinion, in this industry is a lot of companies, they come and go too fast. The business model doesn't sustain itself. They go from country to country, and they don't really stay there long enough for a person to achieve what they're looking for in the company. And quite honestly, since the day one of this company, we wanted to build this company so it had a long-term perspective. And also, I wanted to build a company, and this is real important to me, is a company that if somebody got involved, and a year later, they really hadn't made that much money. Well, the good thing about that, they wouldn't have spent a lot of money, because we're not a company that requires you to buy a lot of inventory and that type of thing, okay? But they hadn't made a lot of money. The person they had become in that year had been worth the effort, that they would have become a better version of themselves, but more importantly, they'd helped other people become a better version of themselves, and they would have enjoyed the experience, they would have enjoyed the journey. And I've always thought, if you can do that, then everything else works. And so I've always thought purpose and meaning was just as important as product and comp plan, okay? But you got to have a good product and comp plan. And what we've done here at Nerium is it's really unprecedented. I'm not going to go into detail, but we're blessed as a company to be in an amazing space, a space that's just going to grow no matter what we do. This space is going to grow. The space of anti-aging is going to grow to $1 trillion+ industry with or without us. We've walked into that space with probably some of the most breakthrough technology that space has seen in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's not going to stop. What you've seen already is just the beginning of a lot of things we're bringing to the space. So we have amazing products. On top of that, it's allowed us to build what I think is the most important thing we do, which is a customer acquisition model. I really believe that. I've always believed if you build a company around customers versus around recruiting, then you'll have everything you want. And the direct sales industry, quite honestly, probably 95% of the direct sales industry is driven by just recruiting. They move most of their volume by bringing people in. They move very little of their volume through customers. And quite honestly, there's companies out there where their volume is totally through their distributors. There's not any volume, anything outside of the distributors. And the true test to a great direct sales company is to have a product that will stand on its own without a business model attached to it, a comp plan attached to it. The vast majority of our volume is generated outside of our comp plan. It's generated by customers, and that's a very big thing, because you can't do that unless you have a product that stands on its own. Our product, you could put it in traditional retail, and it would survive in traditional retail without a comp plan attached to it. Matter of fact, if our product was put in the hands of say, a company like L'Oreal, it was traditional retail, it would not be at $92 or $80 in the United States. I guarantee you it would be somewhere between $200 and $500. You can't walk into a department store, and I promise you this, you can't walk into a department store and find a product for $200, $300, $400, $500 that does what our products do. So we have a product that's very unusual, that's priced below retail, so it gives you value. So when you can do that, you can build a customer acquisition model. On top of that, we've put together a great management team, great systems. They're building a great platform. And on top of that, I've talked about this a lot last night, we brought in great culture. And I really think culture is the thing that to me, it's the most important thing we do. I mean, obviously, we got to do the things we got to do. We got to be in a great space with great products, with great management, with great systems, with a customer acquisition model. We got to do all those things very, very well. But when you put around it the halo effect of culture, which culture is basically, to me, like I said last time, I'm repeating myself, but I just want to do this. I'm going to get this cup out of my way. It's bugging me. Okay, you ever have things that bug you? Okay, that bugged me. And so I just kept looking at it like, get away from me. And so whoever left it out here. So we are neurotic in some way, okay? I got about 4 more you might see tonight. Okay, and but those are things we have to do, but the culture to me is the thing that talks about that person that's been with us for a year, and maybe it hasn't made a great income at first, but in that culture, they learn how to be a real person, how to be loving, caring, sharing. They learn how to love. They learn how to become part of happiness. They create great relationships. They travel to places they may have not gone before. And they become a better version of themselves, but more importantly, they help other people become a better version of themselves. And that really is a defining thing. And when we can lay that around a company, that's what creates a great company, okay? You can't have culture on top of a bad company, but you have a great company, you put culture on it, it's amazing what can happen. And then the last piece of it, and a big important piece of it, is the rhythm that we're talking about here. You saw, for the new people from Canada, Mark and Tammy and the management team get up here and talk about a rhythm. And this is real important because in most direct sales companies, there's basically 20 rhythms. And if you're in Canada and you're trying to build over in, say, Malaysia, there's the Malaysia rhythm. You know nothing about it. And so going there to build your business is just like going to a whole other business. That's not what we're doing here. We have built one rhythm in the United States. No company ever in the history of direct sales, I can promise you this. I mean, there's a symposium that's held every year in the United States of the top 500 executives. It's been held now for almost 15 years. The top 500 executives every year come together to talk about the industry. You have to be an owner or a CEO or an executive to be in that room. I'm the only person that's ever spoken at that event 15 years in a row. So not saying that to brag, I'm just saying that I know the industry pretty darn well, okay? And side note, it cracks me up they invite me back because I don't like most of the companies, okay? I mean, I feel like I go home and take a shower and get them off of me when I'm done. But because I really don't respect the business models. Most of them are moving product because of a comp plan, not because of product. I don't think they have a long-term perspective. They grow in a company and then they go to another country and they do it and they die in that country. We're not going to do that here. And so, we have a long-term perspective. We've got a rhythm. This is a really important thing because the rhythm is the thing that's going to allow us to go from 300 million people in the United States to now we've added 30 million people. So we're at 330 million people, okay? And the rhythm moved here. But all of a sudden, we're going to go to another country, and we're going to add, say, 80 million more people. Then we're going to another country and add, say, maybe 150 million people. We're going to start moving into different cultures and different languages and across the ponds. The goal is, for us as a company, it's very easy for us to go out there and build our systems and all that and go to 1 billion people, and eventually 1.5 billion people. It's not very easy. It's a lot of work, but 2 billion people. But it's more important to me that we take you with us, okay? And you got to get that. Most companies don't think that way. They go there, they want your contacts over there, but they don't take you with them. See, the system, the rhythm takes you there whether you're there physically or not. That's why we ask everybody to just step back a little bit, support the system, buy into this, because the system will duplicate. Systems will build for you when you're not there, or you can call it the rhythm. That's the thing that's going to allow you to sit here in Toronto and leverage this business model as we go to 1 billion people, 2 billion people, whatever it might take for it to happen for you. So if you understand that, what I hope to think is when you come to this business and as you start building your organization, everybody comes to the starting line just a little bit different. Some people come to the starting line and they go to the top in a year, okay? And some people go to the top in 2 years. And in our company, nobody's gone to the top in a longer time than 33 months, okay? Because we've only been around 33 months. Think about that. I mean, the slowest you could have been is 33 months. Is that amazing to get to a 6-figure income and have a lifestyle, okay? Think about that. I think it's amazing how many people from a startup company that did it organically, that didn't do it with all the fanfare, that didn't do it with loading people with inventory, that did everything right, did it around customer acquisition, that we have been the most successful, fastest growing company, paid out more money than any company ever has in the first 2.5 years. That's pretty cool, isn't it? The thing about it is for me, it's just, when I think about it, is the longest it's going to take us 33 months. We've had all this success. But for me, what if it took somebody 10 years to do that? Would it not be great? I mean this. One of the hardest things for me to do is we have to put the spotlight on success, do we not? I can't put the spotlight, Joe here joined yesterday and quit today. I can't put the spotlight on that person, right? That's not you. We have to put it on the super achievers. But the fact is, and the point I want to get across here before I start going into my talk, is this company, no matter how big we get, the vast majority of our people are going to be people who've been with us, let's just say roughly a year, and that are at the director level. And that's perfect. That's just perfect, okay? And because think about it, what if it took a person a year to go from brand partner to senior brand partner? And from senior brand partner to director, okay, another year. From director to senior director, another year. From senior director to executive director, another year. Executive director to regional marketing director, another year. Regional marketing director to national marketing director, another year. Say 6 years. And now they got to a position where they built a book of business, because we have a customer acquisition model. Okay, they're making easily a $100,000 income, which would put you in the top 5 percentile, okay? They literally probably have a business that's taken them now, could easily have taken them into 4, 5, 6, 7, other 8 countries that they've traveled to in their business. They built all these relationships. They're part of a culture that's changed them more than anything else they've ever done. They've become a huge, better version of themselves and help a lot of other people along the way, but they're not be worth it. Okay? And we don't have anybody that's taken 6 years yet, because we've only been around 33 months. But would that not have been worth it? The point I'm trying to get across is one of the most difficult things for me is to get people to have proper expectations for the business, because we're a young company. We've been so successful as a young company. And everybody starts thinking, if I didn't get the NMD in 1 year, I'm a failure. No. It's different for everybody. Everybody comes to the starting block with the different things going on in life. We all have different things that we call who we are. We have different things going on in our home, in our family life, and our different emotions that are going on in our life, different expectations, different challenges. It's different for everybody. The day that I'm going to be the happiest, although I don't want it to come too quick, because it means I'm going to be a lot older, okay? But when I stand on the stage and somebody comes across the stage and says, I've been here for 10 years and I just became a national marketing director, I will think that is the coolest testimonial I've ever seen, because you look at that person, what they do in the last 10 years to create a 6-figure income. We're talking about a 6-figure income with freedom and lifestyle and traveling the world, becoming a better version of yourselves, becoming a happier person, being a loving, caring, sharing person, making a difference in people's lives. That's a pretty cool thing, isn't it? I feel like it's a gift. And so for me personally, I think the more that we can focus on that, and that's why I always say that purpose and meaning is just as important as product and money, okay? There's a balance. I understand that. Some people show up at the starting block, and to them, everything's product and money. You know what I'm talking. That's all they are. Purpose and meaning means nothing, okay? But all of a sudden, it'll change. You'll see them. They'll get involved in business. The product and money will be there, but the purpose and meaning will show up. Other people show up, and they're totally purpose and meaning and hardly any money. And they will balance out the other way, too. The thing about it, I think we have the whole enchilada here, is what I'm trying to say. We have the buffet here. So, hey, Casey, do you have that chart? I want you to put that up for me. There's a chart you guys saw earlier, and this is the coolest chart in the whole company. This is a chart, and let me explain it to you, because I think it was explained to you a little bit off of what it really is. This is a chart that is a chart of the first year in our company, okay? And this is if you were average, okay? You weren't top, you were at the bottom. You were the company's average, and you're going to go from 0 the first month, and you're going to go to a $10,000 income 12 months later. Not talking about 12 months later, okay? Right now, it'd be 33 months, okay? A person could be 10 years. I'm talking about 12 months. That's really fast to go from startup. And this wasn't a company that didn't have all the things you have. This was a company that was in startup, okay? Didn't have day cream, didn't have a Nerium firm, didn't have our back office, didn't have the tools you got, didn't have the training. This is the first year. The first, you heard Darren Kidd talk about his mother made $5. Well, this person would have made, if you're average in the company, would have made $222. Now, this is the fastest growing company in the history of direct sales, too. So this is pretty fast. You got to get that. This is the fastest growing company. So this is not standard for the industry. Okay, and so what if it took 3 or 4 times this? So Fastest company in the history of direct sales, rocking it off. First month after all this hard work, $222. Second month, $510. Third month, $766. Fourth month, $869 or $89, can't read that. Fifth month, $1,270. Sixth month, $1,840. Their goal was to make $10,000 a year, right? That was their goal. And they're in the hottest, fastest growing company in the history of direct sales. You get that? And these are the people showing up doing everything they're supposed to do. This is the company average. They're not the people who don't do anything. This is the people doing the business. 6 months in, they're 20% of their way there. How many people will keep going? Because that's the business model. And quite honestly, that's the fast business model. You heard Darren Kidd. His mother was at $5 after the first month. His mother was at $190 at the end of the 9th month. 33 months into it is at $10,000. That's even fast. You understand? That's even fast because she's now moved into the top 1 percentile of the company. She's been here 33 months. That's even fast. Point I'm trying to get across is you have to have proper expectations, but here's more importantly, that's how it is in everything else in life. That's how it is in anything else you do. You know, in traditional business, probably the best traditional business you can use to compare against us is franchising. I've done a lot of franchising. Franchising, the rule of thumb is you have to invest 5 times more than you want to make. So if you want to make $100,000, okay, which that person did, or if you're average of the company, that's not one person, that's the average of the company. If you want to make $100,000, you'd have to invest $500,000 to get it on this machine. Okay, and they'll tell you it's going to take you 5 years to get money back. So now you got to take this out 5 years instead of 1 year. Okay, so you want to make $100,000, you got to invest $500,000, and now that goes from being a 1-year chart to a 5-year chart. So the chart goes all the way over that wall. Do you get what I'm saying? So that flat part is not just 6 months; it's 30 months, where you don't make a thing before things starts to turn up. Welcome to the real world. I can't say world well, okay? And when you put real in front of world, it just goes really bad on me, okay? But I can't, world, planet, earth, globe, world, okay? And so, but I'm telling you the rule of thumb, this is the rule of thumb in franchising. You invest 5 times more than you want to make, so that's $100,000. You have to invest $500,000, right? It takes you 5 years to get your money back on average. That's to get your money back. This person made it. And so that would take that chart out 5 times 12, 60 months. That chart we go all the way into that curtain before it starts to turn up, right? It'd go 30 months before it even makes the move. Would you be willing to do that? What's wrong with that model in Nerium? What if in your life it takes you 5 years to get to that? Would you be willing to stay flat for 30 months? Because that's what you do. In real business, you plant seeds and you cultivate, and that's the vast majority of time before you harvest. It's just the way it is. The problem, one of the challenges we have in this company is we had so much success so early with this rocket ship, okay, that people have these false expectations of what should happen. What's wrong with it taking 5 years? I would pray. I would love to be able to, if you could say to me, Jeff, you'd give up all the people who made it quick to have something where everybody made 5 years. I'd sign that document like that, right? Because it would be something proven. There's no such thing as a proven model like that. Here's a cool thing. Let me tell you about this. In that process, we have a thing called the 8-point system. You all know the 8-point system, right? It's a simple thing. Everybody in here, that 8-point system is designed. A lot of thought went into it. It's something everybody can do. That 8-point system, what I love about it is 15 of those points. I know it's 40 points a month. I'm just going to do 15, 15, 15, so it's 45 points. Not a month, a week, okay? But so let's just say it's 8 points a day. We go 5 times a day. That's 40 points. I'm just going to do 45. Just work with me, okay? So 15 of those points, because I'm going to do third. Just work with me. 15 of those points, okay, would be, you do not have to change your life really as far as time. All you have to do is redirect your time. Because 15 of those points is about being on the calls, reading the emails, being in the communication system. So what you're going to have to do is just take your time from building somebody else's dream, which is sports and crappy TV and all that junk stuff, all that stuff where you're building somebody else's dream, and you got to build your dream. You get that? So 15 points are freebies. If you'll just redirect your energy from building somebody else's dream to building your dream. See how cool that is? Just 15 points are freebies if you'll just quit, listening to all the crap on TV and start listening to our TV, our what do you call it, conference calls and reading our emails. I have people come to me all the time. Golly, all that stuff. I go, okay, we'll do no conference calls and no emails. You happy? I mean, isn't it crazy when people say stuff like that? You've heard them say that too. We call them cuckoos. It's called a clue, okay? Not everybody's going to do it. You just got to get used to that, okay? But 15 points is a freebie. The next 15 points, basically just live your life. This is one thing I've always taught in this business. I've always said when I've been in business, I've never had an on-off clock. I'm on all the time, and I'm off all the time. What I mean by that is I work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and I play 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I just am. That's what you do in this business. You just live your life. Everybody out there has skin, right? Right? Okay, mostly, okay? It has skin, and many of them have needs for extra income, right? But you know what? A lot of them have a need for our culture. They really need who we are. They don't know it yet, but they get in here and they get in the warm water, they're going to love it here. They're going to love it because of the products, and they're going to love the money, but they're going to love our culture more than anything else, okay? But there's a lot of people out there who need that. So 15 of those points, people, is just live your life. Go to the soccer games. Go do your things. Live your life and share. Have magazines with you and have your pictures all the time with you. That's all you do. Pictures, 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 and that's all you do. And you share with them third-party tools. 15 of the points, the last 15 is work. That's where you got to go and do a real results party, go to events and that type of thing. The point I'm going to get across is anybody can do the 8-point system. But so you show up and you're doing the 8 points every day religiously. You're doing your 2 exposures a day just religiously. You're doing that. You do it a month. So in a month, we say 5 days on, 2 days off, right? So just say on average, you're doing about 20 days. It's really 20, 21 days a month, right? So you do that for 20, 21 days, you make $222. You start questioning yourself, right? You're 6 months into it, and your goal is to get to $10,000 a month, and you're making $1,800. You're really questioning it, aren't you? People, that is exactly how it should be going, and that's the fastest growing company. And if you're doing it as a franchise, the chart would be 5 times longer. You got to get proper expectations for the business. Let me tell you some people who did not have proper expectations. Danny Gassney's here. Where are you, Danny? I should call him out. Every time I call Danny, he's not in the room. Oh, there he is. Hey, Danny, congratulations. Busted. You wouldn't believe, Dale Munger's not here, is he? Oh, can you guys just, no, you don't have to stand up. Just stand up so we can see you two. Danny and Dale, stand up. There you are. Hey, okay. We're about the month 4, 5, 6 range right there. Now, these guys are making more money than, they have so much money they can buy all of you meals tonight, okay? And it won't hurt them, okay? We're sitting there about that 5th month, and if you'd have thought a whale just got shot, crying out here over the phone. This thing ain't working. You promised it's going to work. What are we going to do? I promise. I gave up everything. I'm doing this thing. I've done everything you've asked me to do. I got those calls. Did I not get those calls? Mark Smith, how many times did you get those calls from Danny and Dale? You can yell all the time, right? Because you know what? They were, and let me tell you something about Danny and Dale. They were doing real results parties every single day. Every time I talked to them, they were going to one or leaving one. Every time I talked to them, these guys did the 8-point system. They weren't doing 8 points. They were doing like 16 points a day. They really were. They were fanatical workers. And when they were down there, and when they got in, they were both so dead broke, they needed this business. They were scared, okay? Scared. And we were a new company, so they had nobody who had success that they could say it worked before. So they were going on blind faith that this was going to work. They hadn't seen success. And the calls we were getting back that time, they were questioning hard. I remember walking to the Atlanta airport. Mark Smith gets me on the phone, and it's basically, how do we talk Danny and Dale and staying into the business? Remember? I remember that. The worst call came from Darren Kidd. That guy could whine, bigger whiner on earth. That is the biggest crybaby I've ever met in my life. That guy, nobody can put it on you harder than him, because he's bringing the mother into it and the 11 people he's taking care of and everything. That whole beautiful story you heard, it sounded a lot different 2.5 years ago, okay? A lot different. And he was in desperate mode, desperate. I remember the phone calls I got on all the time. And then Mark, it's hard for when the people around you are complaining, they're not complaining. So Mark started complaining too. Because it took Mark a long time. I'm not putting them down. They didn't have anything to draw from. There was no history. And it was scary because they came in on a leap of faith, okay? And there was no success to look at to proving the model worked. But I remember we're sitting in that 5th and 6th month. And I was saying, you guys, you're right on track. It's going to work. I'd bring Dennis Windsor out. He'll tell you all the calls he had to take with those guys because I wasn't the only one taking them. But that's what you do in this business. The only difference is now you got something to point at, okay? But I'm going to tell you, all the success stories, it's like that, if not longer. It's like that, not longer. Darren Kidd's mother is 33 months, right? Isn't that pretty cool? 33 months she did it. Isn't that pretty amazing? And if all the health things. The point I'm trying to get across is, ask yourself this. Are you going to keep on going in the 4th month, the 5th month, the 6th month, the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month? If I had $500,000 of yours, you would, right? But all I got right now is, we sold you a few bottles that are pretty cool stuff that really works that you can't keep in your house and everybody buys from you. I mean, really. Okay, you haven't made, it's not much of an investment. It really is not. This is where you got to find out what you're going to do. This is why I wrote the book, The Slight Edge, right here. Because I know you can do what you need to do to be successful. Name one thing in the 8-point system that you can't do. I mean, one thing. You might not be able to do it good. I didn't say do it good, that you can't do. I mean, name one. I mean, can you listen to a conference call? Okay. Can you read emails? So that's 15 points. Okay? Can you hand out magazines and show pictures to people and point to your website? 15 more points. Okay? You're 2/3 there. All you have to do now is real results parties and show up at events. Okay? Can you do those things? I'm not saying do them good. You'll do them good as you time. Everything you get better as you do time. Okay? But will you keep doing it when the rewards aren't there? If I had $500,000 of yours, you would. That's why franchising people are more successful than network marketing people. Because the price of entry is strong enough to keep you in because you need to get your money back, right? What I'm trying to say, it's going to be your philosophy. It's not the hows. It never was the hows. It's going to be your philosophy. Do you have a long-term perspective philosophy? Are you going to treat this like a business? Okay? Because if you do that, it's there. It's now been proven it's there, okay? We have hundreds of people who've done it in less than 33 months. I can't wait till I can say we got thousands of people that did it in 10 years, quite honestly, okay? But we're not there. We've been blessed with growth, but we also been cursed with growth, quite honestly, because people have these not proper expectations. So with that said, let me give you a couple of statistics that are really important to know. I have a good friend who owns one of the biggest software companies in the direct sales industry. He's been around over 30 years in the industry, over 300 companies, tens of millions of database that he can go look at of companies all over the world, every continent, planet, everything, continent, okay, whatever. Okay, you know what I was trying to say. He can do that. And I asked him, go in and look at your data and tell me out of all the people who signed up in a direct sales company, how many people ever did anything. Now, these are people who have been approached, calls, given information, made decisions, signed an app. Of all the people these aren't people who just approached, made decisions, said yes or no. I'm talking about people who got in the business, okay? How many people did something else after that? 70% of the people never did anything. So you're sitting here trying to build your business. You're going down that lonely curve, right? That lonely curve. And 70% of the people won't even take the first step. Isn't that kind of tough? But that's the way the world is. Now, we're better as a company because we do business better as a company. But if you took the industry as an average, we help the average. But there's probably other companies that are way worse. But still, the vast majority of the people don't take that step. Now, you got to ask yourself, why don't they take that step? The truth is, they're dealing with probably the most difficult person in their life. It wasn't the person they wanted to approach, it was themselves. Probably the most difficult thing you'll ever deal with in your life is your negative subconscious. It's big, it's huge. Negative subconscious is the thing you heard, heard the word no 40,000 times before you went to first grade, heard the word yes 5,000. You can't change that because as a parent, you got to say the no's. Don't touch the fire, don't get in front of the cars. That's what happens, okay? The negative subconscious is what is fed by society. When you get up every single day, you do not have to seek out negative. It's in abundance. You turn on any TV station, any radio station, you go pretty much 90% of the places on the internet, it is negative. You go to the grocery store and you go to checkouts down, you look to the left, it's crap, 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 live happy, crap, 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 okay? That's what it is. It's crazy, okay? You do not have to seek out negative. You know why that's there? Because the media knows that we're wired negatively. And we are naturally drawn to negativity. You should study it. The more I've gotten to live happy and gotten to positive psychology and well-being, you'd be stunned how hardwired we are to negativity. Hardwired to it. And so if you just get up and think, hey, I'm one with the world, then you're negative. If you're just going to let it be what it is, you're negative. You have got to consciously, with determination and willpower, every single day seek out positive. Because it's not there in abundance. It's not everywhere. Negative is in abundance. It's everywhere you look. Positive, you got to go find it. So it's so easy to get a negative subconscious. That's why I talk about the book Untethered Soul. Who has had a chance to read that book yet? It's a heavy book. It's a cool book. So neat. I won't say their name. I was just in Hermosa Beach. So you guys see that video, the parade that on the, well, we had the Stanley, I don't keep up, the Kings, which is the LA Kings won the Stanley Cup. And so they had the parade and went right by my house on the ocean in California. And, but this couple comes to the event, comes there that don't even know. And they just made NMD. And so I start talking to them, and they go, give me your story. They've been in the business like 25 months and never done network marketing in their life. Got to ED on their 8th month. It's kind of okay. Then got stuck at ED for 14 months. 14 months. Read the book Untethered Soul, went RMD, NMD. Okay? But they had to stay in the journey and hear that said to them and be around the culture to finally step into something that addressed the negative subconscious. I'm telling you guys, it's there. It's an ugly friend to have when you're on that flat curve, is it not? The negative subconscious. When you read that book, it's going to crack you up. I'm not saying you have to read that book to be successful here. I'm just saying you need to be aware of the negative subconscious. That book is a crack up because you read the first 60 pages, and this person is a psychologist. He's as if every person ever has read that book comes to me and goes, how does this person know me so well? You know my answer is? Because we're all the same. We all read the book and go, oh my God, was this person following me around my whole life? Because literally, he talks about that other voice you have in your head. Some of us have voices, okay? And this voice that goes on, no matter what you say, it says the opposite. You say up, it says down. You say left, it says right. You say white, it says black. It's just blah, 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 blah. Goes through 60 pages of that, and then it comes to this neat exercise where it puts this body, this kind of invisible or open body next to you, takes that voice out, which is you, okay, out, and puts it in there. Now your inner voice becomes another being. And now you sit next to this crazy person who never shuts up, 724, argues with you about everything, points out all the things that are wrong, questions everything you're doing, makes you fear everything that's not going to happen, just as a cuckoo. And if you saw that person, you go, get out of my life. You are crazy. Get away from me. Well, and then he goes, you can't. That's you. Okay? And then you take that crazy person and put him back in you, and the rest of the book is how do you calm that voice? Because when that energy is calm, that energy is now used to go to the positive side. Okay? So you got to understand, 70% of people come in, and the biggest enemy is it's not our product. It's not our comp plan. It's not the industry. It's not their friends. It's nothing but them. Okay? And that's why culture is our biggest asset, because they need us so bad. They need a warm bath. They really do. That's why I think when you lead with purpose and meaning, it's as important as leading with product and comp plan, because when 70% of people show up, they're just scared to death. They got a job, they got a family, got other things going on in their life. They want this thing, and they get in, and 70% of the people get into direct sales and never do a damn thing. I can't stand that, can you? I want to be the company where everybody at least takes a step, at least does something, okay? So as a point I'm trying to get across here is proper expectations, but also us as a company to be people who will step in and help people take the first step. Why is that so important? Another statistic you need to know is no matter how big we get, and I just said it earlier, 80% of our volume, no matter how big we get, become a billion-dollar company, $2 billion company, $3 billion company, 80% of our volume will always come, it's actually more than that, like 85% of our volume will always come from directors, senior brand partners, and brand partners. That's where the volume's at. Because it's like a grass fire, it grows out, right? You drop a match in the grass and it grows out. Where's the biggest surface area? Out here. That's where you basically got your brand partners, then you got your senior brand partners, then you got your directors, right? Then you got your senior directors, then you got your executive directors, and it gets smaller, and then you got down to your national marketing directors. So the biggest area, no matter how big we get, the biggest area will be brand partners, right? So 90% of your volume is going to come from who? Brand partners, senior brand partners, or directors. And guess who they are? They're on the loneliest, scariest path in life. Right? And they've been here a year. And that person, national market director, and that person, national market director, and that person, national market director. And that's like, we had our 3 stars in Hawaii. And I thought a lot about what I was going to talk about, the 3 stars. And that's all I talked about. Right? I said, you guys, you kill people when you get up there. And all you do is point at this stuff. Because they got their job, they got their family, they got all these other endeavors of life, they're dreaming, they're looking, and all they hear is about all this great stuff, and they're sitting in that path. And that is our gold mine. That's our gold mine. And if we're going to be a great company, we're going to get that right there. We're going to be a company that somebody can stay on that path, and it can be 5 years long. It's going to take them 30 months on that path. And on that path, they might not make a lot of money, but the person they come along the way, they become a better version of themselves, and other people become a better version of themselves, but they'll be successful eventually. And they'll stay on that path and do what? The 8-point system, which all of them can do. So if you get that, you understand that 70% of people don't even get started unless we're there to help them along the way. 80% of your volume is going to come from the people who make that movement, and the vast majority of your volume are people going down that lonely, lonely, lonely path. What's different about us versus other direct sales companies, when they're going down that path, we're not forcing a bunch of inventory down their throat. Isn't that cool? See, most companies going down that path, they're borrowing from, they're cashing in their CDs, they're borrowing money from their friends, doing everything so they can buy all the inventory every month and put it in their garage, right? We don't play that game here. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? I mean, you can get our company to go down that path on 1 bottle a month. You bring us 3 customers. It's free. Okay, but the most important thing when we go down that path is we are giving these people purpose and meaning. We're showering them with love and care and sharing. We're showering with being real people. We're showering them with the happiness movement we're doing. We're making them a better version of themselves. That's what a great company is all about. So as a company, this is why I talk about this so much. And this is why I wrote the book, The Slight Edge. Because the Slight Edge, all it was for me was to get people to understand this curve right here. Because the Slight Edge is about successful people basically do the little things that seem to make no difference at all in the act of doing them, 8 points a day. And they do them over and 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 over with our encouragement and our support and our embracing and our understanding, okay? They're not by themselves. Their negative subconscious is eating them alive, okay? Over and over until the compound effect starts to kick in. That's why I wrote The Slight Edge. The Slight Edge was just a philosophy about doing the little things that seem to not matter at all in the act of doing them. See, when you do 8 points today, do you go to the top of that chart? Nope. If you don't do 8 points a day, if you do 8 points a day anywhere on that chart, does it change that chart? No. If you don't do 8 points on that day anywhere on that chart, does it change that chart? No. But the compounded effect of that changes that chart dramatically. And here's the most important thing is the things you do along the way, let's call it the 8 points, the difference between doing them and not doing them is so insignificant, so subtle you can't even measure it. See, what you have is, at the top of that arrow there is called your goal. It could be 5 years. It could be whatever. It's your dream. It's a thing that draws you. It's your goal, okay? But the things you do to achieve your goal are insignificant in the moment. You got to get that. This is really, really, really hard for the person who has a negative subconscious, who steps over the line of fear. I've always said go to the edge of fear and take one more step. So they take one more step into there. Now they're going down that path, okay? It's really hard for them to understand that these little things that seem to make no difference at all matter so much. Because see, I don't care how big your dreams are, you only get to your dreams in the moment. You get that? You don't have the future, you don't have the past. The past, all you have the past is the perception of the past. It does not exist. Okay? The only thing you have is the moment, and the moment is always insignificant. You get that? See, doing 2 exposures today doesn't make you successful. Not doing 2 exposures today doesn't make you fail. The difference between 2 is insignificant. You get that? The moment is always insignificant, but it's the most significant thing you got. You got to get that. Because you build the future, you build your goal in the moment, and the moment's insignificant. This is where people get all messed up. See, when you buy a franchise for $500,000, you don't have to have this talk with people. Because they're in the moment, they're trying to get the $500,000 back, right? We don't have $500,000 a year, so I got to get you a $500,000 philosophical thinking process. So I'm trying to get you, and you got to understand the moment is insignificant, but it's so significant, okay? The other thing you got to know, and that's what the national marketing directors up here get, is 90% plus of the things you do in the moment, you do when nobody else is watching, all by yourself. It's a lonely road up there. Okay, we nurture each other here, and we do all these things, but quite honestly, most of the time you're out there by yourself. You're on the phone by yourself, you're out talking to people by yourself, you're in the car by yourself, but the problem is 100% of the time you're with that cuckoo in your head, okay? That's the biggest problem you got, okay? But you got to understand that. So you're doing all these things in the moment are insignificant, but the only thing you got, the only thing you have is the moment. That's the only thing, the little things in the moment, the only thing that's going to give you the big thing. You can't get there any other way, okay? And you're going to do most things you're going to do by yourself, but you're not really by yourself because you're with cuckoo, okay? And nobody's watching. So it's just easy to kind of just drift off and not do it. You got to get it. That's the real world. But let me tell you one of the neatest things. I've been messing around a lot lately with some stuff, and I've been really thinking about this one. This is the coolest thing. And I'm writing a new chapter for the book. Every time you do something, you take a step. Every time you move forward, 2 exposures, 8 points, read a book, whatever it is, go to a real results party, come to an event. Every time you move forward, it's the most amazing thing it does. Because it changes everything behind you and changes everything in front of you. What I mean by that is you go, wait, you can't change the past. The past is gone. The only thing that exists is your perception of the past. So you can change your past. When you take a step forward and do something, you change your whole reference on everything, and so everything in how you see the past changes. Now, it might not change much in that moment, but you don't think a person who goes down this path and gets to the top, do you not think that changes their whole perception of the past? Does it not? See, it might not change the physical past, but it changes your perception of the past. So people say, well, these people, I'm a victim of the past. I got those past. The only way you fix your past is in motion. As long as you're stagnant, the past exists because it's just what it is. But if you're in motion going forward, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm not saying about doing it right, good, bad, or indifferent, if you're moving forward, it changes your past. But the neatest thing is it changes your future. Because no matter what you have, I don't care who you are standing here at the starting line, and you got your plan to get there, the plan you got will not be the plan that gets you there. You'll take a step, things will change, you'll readjust. You'll take another step, things will change, you'll readjust. And you readjust, you readjust. That's what you do. Plan, do, review. So every single time you do 2 exposures, or every single time you do your 8 points, you literally take a step forward, okay? And you do that insignificant thing. It doesn't seem to matter at all in the matter of doing it, okay? The only thing you got, nobody else is watching you do it. Guess what it does? It changes everything. Danny, your whole past has changed, right? It really didn't change. But is your perception of the past different now? It's totally different. When you go from where he was at, had nothing, takes those steps. It didn't happen one day. It happened in a series of days. But your whole perception of the past changed. But more importantly, your whole future changes. What I'm trying to say is it's all relative, really. It's all relative. It's so cool when you get this because you become so powerful. Because it's not quantum leap stuff. It's not magical stuff. It's not voodoo dust stuff. It's stuff that you can do. And we got a beautiful company here that will nurture you and love you and believe in you and take you along that path until you achieve it, okay? And if it takes you 1 year, if it takes you 10 years, we don't care because we're going to be here with you. That's what's so cool about this company. So, you know, one thing I ask people a lot to do is I always talk about, you know, you get in this business and you're starting to take these steps down the road of the 8 steps or the 8 points, or you're starting to take the 2 exposures. All you have to do to be successful in this company is a thing we call learn knowledge, activity knowledge, modeling knowledge, and teaching knowledge. It's a simple thing. You know, you get in this business, you start that first thing, there's stuff you got to learn. Guess what? When you start down this path, that's the stupidest you'll ever be. Isn't that cool? You are as dumb as you'll ever be in this business. I'm as dumb as I'll ever be as a CEO of this company right now. This is as dumb as I'll ever be. I hope. I hope I don't get dumber tomorrow, okay? The point I'm trying to get across is I cannot get smarter. It's life experiences are teaching me things, okay? That's just the way it is. The only way I don't get smarter is I don't take the step. It's only the step that changes everything, okay? It doesn't matter whether I do the right step, the wrong step. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent, that I just take a step, because even if I take the wrong step, I learn something, right? It's just as important to learn what not to do as to learn what to do, is it not? Right? So I take a step. Doesn't matter. You just take a step. That's called knowledge, okay? There's 2 kinds of steps you do. Learn knowledge. That is, listen to our conference calls, read in our emails, listen to our CDs, be at the trainings. That's learn knowledge. The biggest one is activity knowledge. The biggest gap in life is the gap between learn knowledge and activity knowledge. Because now you got to move from knowing something to doing something about it. That's what I'm talking about, this journey right here. That's why we got to be there for people. Because it's a hard thing to do, because people have got to get out of their comfort zone. Well, the only thing that served me so well in my comfort zone is I always just say, I go to the edge of fear, and we all have our fears. Believe me, we all have our fears. I go to the edge of fear, and I just take 1 more step. I don't take 2 more steps, I just take 1 more step. I can do that. And then once I go through there and I don't die, I go, oh, I guess I'm okay. Then I take another step, okay? There's learn knowledge, and there's activity knowledge. The neat thing about them is they work together. You learn something, then you go do it. That's activity knowledge. Now it changes your whole perception on the learn knowledge. You go back to the same learn knowledge. It's different. So you listen to our CDs. I'll give you a perfect example. The CD that comes in your kit, you should be listening to that once a week forever, or until you've topped out how much money you want to make. Because you listen to that CD, now you go out and do the activity. Okay? You learn something, but now the activity, you took the activity, you did it. Okay, now you learned something because you did the activity. Now you come back to the same learn knowledge, but it's different because of the activity, right? So you hear it different than you heard it the first time because of the activity. So you come back to it, you hear it differently, now you go out and you do the activity different because you heard it different. Now you go back and it's different, and they stair-step each other up. Learn knowledge, activity knowledge, learn knowledge, activity knowledge, learn knowledge, activity knowledge, learn knowledge, activity knowledge. That's what you do. A franchise, a person who buys a franchise for $500,000, that's what they do. They don't do anything fancy. They don't show up at the McDonald's and go, I'm going to change the French fries. The French fries are the same damn place in every single McDonald's, every single place all over the world, okay? They just do it over, they just like that. They do the French fries, the hamburgers the exact same way, but they get better every single day, and they get better as a business. That's what they do. So you have learn knowledge, activity knowledge, learn knowledge, activity knowledge, learn knowledge, activity knowledge. And if you do that long enough, this is where it's important, you become worthy of being modeled. And that's when the business takes off on you. So what people want to do is they want to get in and go from learn knowledge to modeling knowledge. That's not how it works. You got to do the activity. You do learn knowledge, learn knowledge, and activity, learn knowledge, activity, whatever that tonic takes, and you're going down this path. You're not hardly making any money. You're drawing from the dreams up there. You're doing these things in the moment. They're insignificant in the moment. They don't really matter, but the moment's the only thing you got. Nobody's watching you, okay? You're doing those things, but every time you take a step, it changes everything. That's called learning, activity, knowledge. Everything changes every time you take a step. You do that, all of a sudden, something just changes. Danny, you had a day when things just changed for you, when people started listening to you. It's somewhere down that road. It can be 5 months, it can be a year, it can be 3 years, but all of a sudden, they get it. It's like the dog that senses you. They just get that you know it. And all of a sudden, you go from being a person who's in learn knowledge, activity knowledge, you become somebody that people start modeling. When you become somebody people start modeling, because they start saying, hey, this person knows what they're doing, I'm going to follow them, then you become the teacher. And when you become the teacher, your business explodes. But you can't go from learn knowledge to teaching. That'd be like going from planting to harvesting. It doesn't work that way. There's a natural harmony in life. You plant seeds, you cultivate, and you harvest. There's learned knowledge and activity knowledge. This is where all the work is at. This is where all the loneliness is at. This is where you got to fight the whole subconscious brain. You're going through this, all this stuff. There is no money here. All you got is that big dream out there, and you're living the moment. The moment's insignificant. If you do it and you don't do it, it doesn't really matter. There's no difference between the two of them. You're just going through them and through them, but eventually, all of a sudden, you become worthy of being modeled, and it starts to turn. And now you turn around and you start teaching people who are going down the exact same path that you just went down. And you get it because you were there. And you relate to them because you were there. And now you become a teacher, and that thing starts to take off. And all of a sudden, in 4 months or 2 months there, you do more than the first 12 months combined. But you had to go through the process. That's the way it is in life. When you get that, people, you have everything you want. This company, what I love about this company, it has been built perfectly for what's real in life. That's why we put the word real on this company. Because it's been really built as a company to give you what you deserve if you're willing to do what you have to and you follow the path, okay? And so, you know, when I was rewriting the Slide Edge book, I put in a new chapter called The 7 Principles. And to me, it's everything. It's my favorite part of the Slide Edge until this new chapter I'm working on. I'm really fired about it, okay? But the 7 Principles is everything because, and I'll go through them real quick because we're over by 10 minutes. Not my fault, because I got up 20 minutes past my time, okay? So you got to bear. It's all their fault back there, okay? So it's always good to be able to blame. So, but I want to go through these real quick. I know some of you heard in the tape, but I really want to hit a few points in it. The 7 Principles is the Slide Edge, because to me it says everything. The first one is it goes back to my daughter's graduation. Amber, who graduated with straight A's out of college, okay? Not college, high school. And she wanted to go to University of Florida, which is a really good school in the United States, has a great business school. And we went there, and we went to the orientation, and the dean of students was there, and he says, we have 6,700 incoming freshmen. He said, out of them, they are 4.0 and the top like 10% of the SAT. So they were the best of the best. So go to dinner that night, and Amber's like, what am I going to do? Because Amber's now gone from being the top of the class to being average. You get that? Top of the class, now she's average, because everybody is one of them. And I said, so easy, Amber, because I had this philosophy in my head, Slide Edge. I said, you'll beat them all if you do 2 things. Show up, be consistent. What do you mean? I said, you just go to every single class. And then after class, you study for at least 2 hours, and then you can go to your sorority, because you join a sorority, and you guys can just do what they do. I was in a fraternity. I don't want to hear about it. I know what you guys do. La 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 la. Don't tell me. And please, God, don't punish me for what I did when I was in fraternity, okay, with my daughter. It wasn't her fault. And so that was the whole thinking, okay, at that time. And so the thing is, she went to school, and she did that, and all of a sudden she comes back, she says, God, it's like 4 weeks later, and she goes, the class went from 400 down to 100. They haven't done a test yet. The best kids, when they lost structure. Now, you got to get this right here. These are the best. And all of a sudden, they didn't have their parents. They didn't have structure. They didn't have a franchise, which is structure. And they were given the path to whatever they want. They didn't show up. They didn't show up because they lost structure, because they didn't have the right philosophy. They didn't show up consistently. She, 4 years later, on time, graduated cum laude of her class. Now, I was proud of her, but was she any better than any of those kids? Not at all. She had a philosophy. You get that, how important that is? And it's her philosophy that shaped her attitude about the classes, which shaped her how. She was no better at the hows than anybody. She had a better philosophy, like the Slide Edge. She had a better attitude that got her to be successful. You got to get that. So you got to show up consistent. That's what you got to do when you're going down that path. You got to show up consistently. You got to show up consistently with a good attitude. Or I talk about it enough, about the positive attitude versus negative attitude. It has to be a good attitude. You can't have a negative attitude. That's why we do personal development. That's why we pour Live Happy into you, because that will affect your happiness. One of the biggest things you got to, hey, be quiet back there. So, Darren, come out here. We're going to spank you. There's Mark, Darren. I think they got a kegger going or something back there. I don't know. Only thing is, Darren doesn't drink, Mark doesn't drink, Tammy doesn't drink, Dennis doesn't drink. So I don't know what they're doing. But, so where was I? Okay, good attitude, you got to show up, consistent good attitude. Number 4, you got to show up. I already talked about this for a long time. It's going to take a while, people. There's a price to be paid. Okay, so you're going to have to show up consistently with a good attitude over a long period of time. You got to do it with desire and faith. When you read the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill studied the 500 most successful people in the world. There's that word again, the world, okay? Found the 13 things they have in common. He said, number 1, you have the desire. Desire is what gets you up early and keeps you up late when you're going down that path and you're not making any money. Negative subconscious is raining all over you. Nothing seems to matter. It's desire is going to get you to go do those 2 exposures, not do those 2 exposures, okay? And faith. Number 1 was desire. Number 2 is faith. You got to have faith when you're going down this path that it's going to get you what you want. Let me guarantee what won't get you what you want: quitting on yourself, okay? Now, if you're in a business model that's not working, I get that, but you're in a business model that's proven. Our business model is so proven. It's so built on the right fundamentals of being a business model, by being a customer acquisition model with the kind of products we have and the way we do things. You can do this. With the 8-point system, every person here can do this. So you've got to do it with desire, you've got to do it with faith, okay? So you've got to show up consistent with good attitude for a long period of time. That might be different for every one of you. With desire and faith, you've got to be willing to pay a price. There's a price to pay here. When you're going down that path, there's other things you're going to have to give up to stay on that path. But me personally, I think the biggest price you ever pay is the price of neglect, to choose to get off the path. If you leave this path, do me one favor, get on another path. And if you can find a path that's better than ours, go. I mean that. My goal, our goal, us collectively goal, is to build the best path we can. I think for the investment a person makes and the potential upside you can get, I challenge you to find an opportunity as strong as ours. I challenge any company in the direct sales industry to remotely approach us. And that's how I feel. If I didn't feel that way, you shouldn't be here. I actually honestly believe there's no company in the direct sales industry that can remotely do what we're doing, as well as we're doing it. Okay, not even close. And I can prove that, and I'd be willing to debate any CEO, anytime, any place, anywhere in the direct sales industry that our model is better than their model, okay? I believe that. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. So you're willing to pay the price, because we're going to pay the price, because we're going to be here for you, okay? But the last one is you got to do it with integrity. And what I mean by that, integrity is what you do when nobody else is watching, okay? Remember when I said those things you do in the moment that are insignificant, they really don't matter? The only thing you have is the moment, and no way you get what you achieve is in the moment. But most of the things you do in the moment are by yourself. That's when you find out who you are. You know, one of the things we ask you to do is read 10 pages of a good book a day. You don't have to. You can read 11. You can read 9. I don't care. Read something, okay? But 10 pages of a good book a day. If you read 10 pages a day, does that take you to the top over there? Nope. If you don't read 10 pages a day, do you fall off the chart? Nope. In the moment, it's insignificant. It doesn't even matter. But the only thing you have is the moment. And the only way you get to what you want is in the moment. And the moment doesn't matter in the moment. You got to get that. And so it's so easy when you come home and you're tired and that negative subconscious is beating the crap out of you because you're not making any money because you're on that low part of the curve, right? Your biggest enemy, you. It's so easy to come home, there's the book, there's the 10 pages, and you just go, you know what? Nah. Because if I read those 10 pages, it ain't going to matter. And guess what? You're right. And if I don't read them, it ain't going to matter. And guess what? You're right. But it's in that moment, right there, you find out who you are. It's right there. In that moment, it doesn't matter. See, if I had $500,000 of yours, I don't need to talk about that moment. But I don't. You got to be the person who figured out during that moment. Those 8 points of those moments, 2 exposures a day of those moments, 10 pages of a good book a day. Every one of you can have everything you want here. It might be a different curve for every one of you. But you will get there only in the moment. And the vast majority of things you'll do in the moment, you're going to do when nobody else is watching by yourself. And every one of those things you do, if you do them or don't do them, it really doesn't matter in the moment. But it's the only thing you got. And every time you take that step, it changes everything. If you don't like where you're at, take a step. Doesn't matter whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, take a step, and it changes everything. Everything you want, you can have here, because everything here you can do, but the only thing you do is do it in the moment, okay? Here's my promise to you. We will build as great as a company we can build for you. It will be a great company around great products, a great business model. It will not be a company that takes from people, doesn't give back. It'll be a fair deal all the way. We'll be here long-term for you. I don't care what you do. Our culture will be the best thing we do for you. You might make a lot of money here, and you might change your skin here and look great and be very, very rich. But I hope 10 years from now, you say, I love this company for who we are, the person I became, the person I've touched, because that's what's going to define a great company. I'll guarantee you, we will give you that. And that's what you're on the ground floor of, guys. You're on the ground floor of something really cool. This talk's not going on in other drug sales companies. It's really not. This is a really, really, really neat company that's doing things the right way, and you're on the ground floor of it. We're blessed to have you, and I hope you feel like you're blessed to have us, okay? I think it's a two-way street. So with that, we'll go back over to the West End and hang out, guys. I love you guys. Let's get down the road. Let's go build it. Thank you. Thank you.